Welcome to the Illuminated Page, a program for readers, writers, and ignorance fighters. Today, we will be discussing certain books, certain writers, what they do well, and how we can do those things ourselves. When it comes to revealing our characters to our readers, certain writers and certain writing teachers will tell you, you shouldn't tell the readers what your character is like. You need to show them through his actions or through her speech. Don't tell us she's impatient. Show us. Don't tell us he's insecure. Show us. I agree with them and I don't agree with them. I think both are necessary. And if you read classic literature, you'll see the best writers do a combination of both. It's actually a lot like dating if you think about it. Those of you who have had experience dating or hope to have experience dating one day, listen up. When you go out on a date with a new person, there are certain things you want them to tell you right off the bat. For example, especially if you date at my age, you want to know, has this person been married before and how many times? If I go out with a man who's been married 8 times, I want to know that right off the bat. And yet there are certain things that no matter what he tells me, his actions might show me something different. So no matter what he tells me, I'll also look to see what he shows me through his actions. How does he treat the waitress? How does he speak to strangers? How does he talk about his mom? How does he talk about his sister? How does he react when things go wrong? Telling and showing are both important in a new relationship. Same thing's true in the relationship between writer, characters, and readers. Now, there are some authors who do this really well, and one of them is, I bet you thought I was going to say Dickens, and that's actually true. Dickens does this really well, but another writer who does it really well is Washington Irving. If you've ever read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the way he reveals the character of Ichabod Crane to the reader is just masterful. For example, there are certain things that Irving straight up tells the reader. He was a singing master. He was regarded as a man of great education. He was a great feeder. He tells us those things right off the bat. It's a short story after all. He doesn't have room to go on for pages and pages. But there are also certain things that Washington Irving shows us about Ichabod Crane. He shows us how ridiculous he looks. He doesn't come out and say he was ridiculous, but he shows us, especially the scene when Ichabod Crane rides the borrowed horse Gunpowder. Washington Irving doesn't come out and say he looked ridiculous on the horse, but he shows us that Ichabod Crane looked ridiculous on the horse. Listen to this. He rode with short stirrups, which brought his knees nearly up to the pommel of the saddle. His sharp elbows stuck out like grasshoppers. He carried his whip perpendicularly in his hand like a scepter. And as his horse jogged on, the motion of his arms was not unlike the flapping of a pair of wings. A small wool hat rested nearly on the top of his nose, and the skirts of his black coat fluttered out almost to the horse's tail. Now you tell me that doesn't make you think ridiculous. As we write our own books and our own characters, we tell and we show. The best writers do both. That's it for today's episode of The Illuminated Page. Tune in next week for more book and book-related things. Don't forget, I have books coming out starting September 29th if you're interested in checking them out. If the book is up, why can't I do this? Available for purchase. Available for purchase. If you're interested and the book is if you're interested and the book is up for purchase, you will see a link somewhere on this page. And if not, just remember, my mother's been waiting longer than you have.